same position, just hide behind those trees again, and anytime the enemy is in that lane and they're not really paying attention to whether you're there or not, you can just hook them right into those trees, and it's a quick disorient. There's a lot of outs for them, but if you can use your Rotten December, you can easily get a few kills there. Let's move on to the third one now. Their third one's the same position, just up a little bit higher where number 2 was. This is closer to the river. This spot, especially on Sentinel, is a good spot to gank from. There's a lot more trees there, and a lot of people stop right at the corner where those trees are to kill creeps, especially if they're ranged heroes. And if they're not ranged, they'll be melee and they'll be a little bit closer, and you should still be able to pull them through the trees there and get some ganks in. These are a few ganking spots here for the bottom area. Next, we're going to go over the mid area, which is one of my favorite ganking locations, or places to play Pudge, actually. There's a lot of really cool things you can do with him, with your partners and stuff on the middle there. Number 4, we're on number 4 of the slide there. This one has Pudge on the cliff. It's in the middle area, up into the west, I guess, on the Sentinel side. It's a little bit hard to do this on Scourge side, but again, this position is kind of an open area where you could kill Sentinel heroes from there too. Basically, you just want the enemy to be in where they're at there. This is actually from the Sentinel perspective. If you're doing this from the Scourge perspective, the enemy's actually going to be closer to their tower, but you can still pull them to that cliff right there. You're going to want to have level 4 hook for this. The range really helps, especially when you're up on this cliff trying to pull them there. A lower level hook is probably just going to be wasted unless they're really close to those trees there on the edge. So that's number 4. Let's go to number 5 here. Number 5, this is my all-time favorite hooking position for Pudge in the middle here. Usually I have a Techie's partner, and we'll put some mines here right on the cliff, right where actually Pudge is at, the little Pudge icon, and I'll pull them from their side. I'm on Sentinel in this picture here. And you can actually do this from the Scourge side as well, on the opposite side of the river. Just have Techies place a few mines there, and you pull them right to the mines, and either the mines will get the kill or you'll get the kill, so it's definitely a good area there. On top of that, if the enemy wants to go back, and they're going to go back on the closest ramp to the left there, especially on the Sentinel side, they're going to have to get hit by the tower a little bit. Also, it gives us a lot of opportunities for your teammates to come in and do some damage. So that's number 5. That's my all-time favorite Pudge hooking spot right there. It's actually a really good spot, again, to note that it's a really popular spot. So if you're playing against the Pudge, just kind of expect that he's going to be right there. And if you can't see that area clearly enough, make sure there's some creeps in your way so you can kind of get blocked there, so Pudge doesn't have an open ground to hook you right to that cliff there. Number 6, this is another cliff spot. It's a little bit to the north. It's actually on the opposite side of where number 5 was. Still on Sentinel side though. And there's another little cliff area there. This one works really good. A lot of people don't expect this area, but it's a really good ganking spot, especially again with a teammate, if they can catch up with you right by the mid tower, which is going to be a little bit to the south of that position. This is a good spot because it's actually the closest spot right here to getting either double damage or some of the secret little runes that spawn in the river. You can grab one of those and go right to this spot and take advantage of it. Though as Pudge, you're not really going to be using double damage. If you use like invisibility or regen or anything right there, it'd be a good spot to then kind of use your hooks to earn an advantage there. So let's go to number 7. We're not on the top locations. This is the 7th picture, and we're on the top locations. This is actually my least favorite place to play Pudge. If you have to play Pudge top, it's almost essential that you get solo, because you're going to definitely need the extra money, because you're not going to be having as many ganks open. It's a little bit harder to find the good positions to gank in. Just keep your eyes open. These are just a few little ones that I found, and a lot of them are situational. This is number 7, again, a really situational one. You're going to have to make sure that none of the enemies or creeps see you go in there, because if they see you, you're pretty much trapped. But if they don't know you're there, you'll instantly get the opponent trapped into those trees, and it's a very confusing situation for them. And they'll pretty much die to your Rotten December right there. You might not even need a December, because the trees will kind of block them in there for you. So that's a good little ganking spot there for you. That's number 7. Let's move on to number 8 now. This one's a really good spot for top. It's pretty much, if you're on the Sentinel side, this is the main bread and butter ganking spot for Sentinel side against Scourge. It's right up to the north of where the enemy position words are. There's an enemy tower. I wrote little enemy tower and pointing to the left of it. If you find that your opponents are sitting there by their tower, hit behind these trees and pull them to you. Just wait until the creep wave passes so you don't pull creep instead of the enemy that you're shooting for. And it's actually a good area to try some blind hooks too, so if you know your opponent's going to be hanging out at the tower, you don't necessarily have to see them there, and you could kind of just estimate or guess that they're going to be there and shoot out a hook. Definitely a good little spot there. Try to use the trees again to your advantage. All these ganking spots pretty much rely on using the trees or a cliff, some other part of the world to kind of help lock the opponent in and help you make your best of the rot in December that you can slow him down and kill him with. Last spot, let's see, gank 9. This one gives you a lot of opportunities on Sentinel side again. Actually, this will work for Scourge as well, depending on where the opponent's at. The enemy position right here is everything to the left of that pink little swirly line there. This gives you a lot of opportunity. Again, if your opponent sees you going in this, you're kind of in a trapped position, and directly to the south of where this Pudge icon is, there's a creep camp, so you want to make sure not to aggro those creeps or it'll ruin your little ganking opportunity there. Just use H to hold position there and wait for your opponents to come, especially if they're going to be in that area relatively soon and you don't have to wait very long. Your hooking this one has to have a relatively long range. I'd wait for level 4 to do any hooks here unless you're right up next to them on these trees. Actually, directly north of this is another really good spot. It's right by those trees again. A lot of the opponents on the Scourge side anyway will hug those trees coming up early, not realizing that Pudge can hook right through those trees and again get some easy kills on them. So those are the ganking spots. There's a few of them. Again, don't use these as a set in stone rule that you have to only gank from these spots. There's plenty of other good ones throughout the map. Those are just the ones kind of in the middle of all the towers, kind of the early game ganking spots, I guess. I'd like to go over some builds with you too. A little treat to go over some build items. So build 1 here, this is a basic simple int build. Pudge is basically an int hero with, he's a strength hero, but he's based a lot on his mana. You want to be able to make sure he has enough mana to do all his abilities, because that's really where his damage output lies. Starting off, you want to get a branch and a ring of regeneration and some clarity pots. Usually use whatever money you can. If you want, you can finish off your Hedger's of Rejuvenation early, and then start building the buckler and the Ring of Oculus. That'll help you with your mana regeneration. Also give you a little bit of Devotion Aura there for some added armor. You notice I skipped the Boots of Speed early on. Until you're like level 6 or 7, you're really not going to be doing a lot of chasing. And even later in the game, Rot really does slow your opponents down enough to where you don't need Boots of Speed. So that's kind of an optional item. The third little picture there on the top there is with the Staff of Wizardry and the mechanism. It's basically what you progress the buckler and the headdress into is the mechanism, and then you get the Staff of Wizardry. This ups his intelligence, so he has a higher mana pool to really help him out. Again, just having that higher mana pool, when you're at max mana, you're going to be able to do your hooks and rots and your Decembers a lot easier. Definitely want to keep Pudge's mana up, as I think this build works for his mana power, so it's a simple int build. The next 3 pictures there in the middle there, basically, it's kind of up to you what you want to go at this point. It's progressing that Staff of Wizardry into either a Necromonicon or the Dagon, or you start getting the Illuse and the Oblivion Staff to get the Ginsos in the late game there. I'd go Dagon against some lower agility heroes. Again, though, if you can't finish them off quite enough with your Hook and Rot, you just click that Dagon off, and it's a really good thing to get that extra little damage burst in. It's got a pretty good little range on it. So that's nice to have. The Necronomicon is kind of an advanced strategy. You have to summon it, and it's most powerful at level 3. If you can keep leveling up that recipe to level 3, that aura that one of the summons gives you is really helpful for the run speed and catching up on your opponents, and mana burn is always nice. And then if you want, the simplest way to go is definitely getting the Ginsos and those Illuse Scepters for Cyclone charges in case you get in a tight position, or for even more added control. Not only are you going to Rot, not only are you going to Hook, and not only do you have December, you're now also going to have Ginso, so you'll be able to hex your opponent and easily get some kills off. This actually isn't a late game build here. You can actually progress this into anything you want later on. Get rid of that Ring of Oculus, maybe get some other type of regeneration items, but this basically gives you a little idea of how you want to progress an intelligence build when you go with Pudge. Let's go with the second build. This is a little bit more, I guess, late game oriented. You start off getting nothing. I got an inventory picture there of nothing. Just go into your lane. Hopefully you can get solo, and your goal is to actually get the Perseverance relatively early. You want to get that Perseverance to help with his mana and HP regeneration early. I see some people even getting 2 Perseverances, and that's kind of an option for you if you want to go for 2. If you find yourself really having to run back to the fountain a lot, 2 Perseverances will really help you be able to stay in your lane. This also starts getting the Null's Talismans. Again, it helps his int mana pool, and those talismans actually up his other stats, which are always nice. Want to have a high max int so you can have more mana for casting those hooks again. The 4th screenshot there on the right progresses with the Vitality Booster and the Ultimate Orb. This is actually the first few parts you're going to be getting for some other items. Vitality Booster and the Perseverance the Ultimate Orb and the Perseverance are going to turn into the Lincoln Sphere, which will help you negate enemy spells. If you're up against heavy nukers, you'll find yourself, being able to resist a stun or being able to resist a heavy nuke is definitely beneficial for Pudge's tanking abilities. Continuing on with that tanking aspect with this nothing build, he gets the Eagle Horn and the Quarterstaff, and eventually you're going to be getting a Sacred Relic. Sacred Relic, obviously pretty late game, but it turns into the Radiance, which is basically adds to your rot damage. It's an AE type of immolation thing, and it really, really helps to help kill people. It basically makes your rot, and stacked with that, makes that more useful in the late game. To continue on with his tanking abilities, it just basically gets him a Heart of Tarask, Butterfly, and eventually the Aegis. And the Aegis is there just in case for some reason you happen to die. You don't necessarily have any items that are going to be dropping, like a Gem of True Sight, although you actually could, or a Divine Rapier. It's just basically there so you don't have to worry about dying. You can save up more money, buy yourself back eventually. If you have enough money and you're able to get all these items late game, chances are you've been dominating and the game might even be over before this. So it's up to you basically how to switch up your late game build. There's no real set item builds for Pudge. A lot of people start off with earlier items, and some people don't get anything. I've seen the craziest builds work with Pudge, and it's really all in how you hook and how you rot in December. So just be creative with it. The only thing I wouldn't suggest is getting items that up his critical chance or his damage. He's not going to be kneeling a lot, not going to be doing a lot of physical damage with his regular attacks. So getting items that up his attack and his critical strike chance is kind of a waste. Or even anything with a cleave. I've seen some Battle Fury Pudges work okay, but mainly just for pushing, not definitely for getting killed. So just be careful what kind of items you get, and I don't know, practice with whatever you can. It all works for Pudge. You just got to make it work for you, I guess. So thank you guys for listening, and thank you for everyone who I guess I stole their little replays from. I'll put their names in the credits there. There's the Veteran in Love, and what's the other guy? Let me check out the names in the credits for you. And Do Fanatic. The other ones are basically me. I found some of these replays on the Dota All-Stars forums, and I didn't ask permission from these two guys, so if they're mad, I hope not. But I just wanted to give credit where credit's due. Some of those Pudge little clips are there from those two guys, and some of them were for me. Credit to all the music in there. I got Fatboy Slim, Moby, and Weezer. Again, all the great guides at DotaAllStars.com. Definitely appreciate all those. A lot of the information I got for this guide and the little tips and how I even started playing Pudge, I got from the Dota All-Stars premium guides and some of the member guides too, so that's always a good thing. Well, I hope you guys appreciated all this, and maybe if this gets some good reviews, we'll do it with some other Dota heroes. Who knows? See how it works out. And if you have any comments, again, just post them to me at WCReplays.com on the forums. My name's, again, Systemshark there. Or on the Dota All-Star forums, it's Systemshark. Just probably message me on the forums, or you can reply to any of these posts on the comments where this file is actually going to be hosted. Hope you guys appreciate this. Hope you guys have a great day, and happy hooking all. Talk to you later. Bye.